1. Start saving for your retirement. Now, not later. I spent my 20s recklessly, but turning 30 should be when you take the big financial leap. Planning for retirement is not something you should put off. Understanding the boring stuff like insurance, mortgage is important because it's all on your shoulders now. Educate yourself. The most common advice, so common that almost every email said something about it, was to start getting your financial house in order and start saving for retirement. Today, this advice fell into several categories. Make it your top priority to pay off all your debts as quickly as possible. Create an emergency fund. There have been many horror stories of people being financially ruined due to health issues, lawsuits, divorces, bad business deals, etc. Set aside a portion of each paycheck, preferably in a 401k IRA or at least a savings account. Don't spend frivolously. Don't buy a house if you can't afford to get a good mortgage with good rates. Don't invest in something you don't understand. Don't trust stockbrokers. One reader said, "If your debt is more than 10% of your annual salary, that's a major red flag. Stop spending, pay off debt, and start saving." Another wrote, "I would save more money in an emergency fund because unexpected expenses really destroyed my budget. I would be more careful about my pension fund because mine looks quite small at the moment." Wow, who knew saving money could be so sexy and fun? That's great. Saving is so easy and so much fun. And then there were the readers who, in their 30s, were just completely screwed by their inability to save. One reader named Jody wished she had started saving 10% of every paycheck when she was 30. Her career took a turn for the worse, and now she's stuck at 57, still living paycheck to paycheck. Another woman, 62, did not save money because her husband earned more than her. They later divorced, and she soon began to have health problems, causing her to spend all the money she received from the divorce. She too now lives paycheck to paycheck, slowly waiting for the day when Social Security kicks in. Another man told a story about how he had to receive financial support from his son. He didn't save and unexpectedly lost his job during the 2008 crash. The message was clear: save early and save as much as possible. One woman emailed me that she was working a low-paying job with 2 children at age 30 and still managed to put some money into her retirement fund each year. Because she started early and invested wisely, she is now in her 50s and financially stable for the first time in her life. Her point, and mine, it's always possible. You just have to do it. 3 ideas that can change your life. Never underestimate the power of an idea. Leave your email address in the box below, and I'll send you 3 that might just change everything for you. 2. Start take care of your health now. Not later. Your mind's acceptance of your age is 10 to 15 years behind your body's aging. Your health will improve faster than you think, but it will be very difficult to notice, not least because you don't want it to happen. We all know that we need to take care of our health. We all know we need to eat better, sleep better, exercise more, and blah, blah, blah. 2, 3. But as with retirement savings, the response from older readers was loud and unanimous. Get well and stay healthy now. So many people have said this that I won't even bother quoting anyone else. Their points were essentially the same. How you treat your body has a cumulative effect. It's not that your body suddenly broke down after a year. It was breaking down all this time and you didn't notice it. This is the decade to slow this decay. Step 1. Laugh. Step 2. Eat the salad. Step 3. Step 4. Profit. The key to salad is to laugh while you eat it. And this wasn't just your typical mother's advice to eat your vegetables. These were emails from cancer survivors, heart attack survivors, stroke survivors, people with diabetes and blood pressure problems, joint problems, and chronic pain. They all said the same thing. If I could go back, I would start eating better, exercising, and not stopping. I made excuses then, but I had no idea. 3. Do not spend time with people who treat you badly. Learn to say no to people, activities, and commitments that don't add value to your life. Following calls to take care of your health and finances, the most common advice from people looking back at their 30-year-old selves was an interesting one. They would go back and strengthen boundaries in their lives and commit to their time. The best people. Gently let go of those who do not make your life better. Setting healthy boundaries is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself or another person. Don't tolerate people who treat you badly. Period. Don't tolerate them for financial reasons. Don't tolerate them for emotional reasons. Don't tolerate them for the sake of the children or for the sake of convenience. Don't settle for mediocre friends, work, love, relationships, and life. Stay away from unhappy people. They will consume you, drain you. Surround yourself and date only people who make you the best version of yourself, bring out the best in you, love and accept you. People typically struggle with boundaries because they have difficulty hurting someone's feelings, or they are overwhelmed by the desire to change the other person or make them treat them the way they want to be treated. It never works. In fact, this often only makes the situation worse. As one reader wisely noted, selfishness and self-interest are two different things. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. When we're in our 20s, the world is so open to opportunity and we're so lacking in experience that we cling to people we meet, even if they've done nothing to earn our clinginess. But by the age of 30, we realize that good relationships are hard to achieve, that there is no shortage of people to meet and make friends with, and that there is no reason to waste time on people who do not help us in our affairs. Life path. 4. Be kind to the people you care about. Show up with and for your friends. You matter and your presence matters. Conversely, by imposing stricter boundaries on who we let into our lives, many readers advise spending more time with those friends and family we choose to keep close. I think sometimes I took some relationships for granted, and when that person leaves, they leave. Unfortunately, the older you get, things start to happen that affect the people closest to you. Appreciate the people close to you. You can get money and work back, but you can never get time back. Tragedy happens in everyone's life, among everyone's family and friends. Be the person others can count on when this happens. I think between 30 and 40 is the decade where a lot of shit finally starts happening that you might have thought would never happen to you or those you love. Parents die, spouses die, children are stillborn, friends get divorced, spouses cheat. The list goes on and on. Helping someone during these times by simply being there, listening and not judging is an honor and will deepen your relationship in ways you probably can't yet imagine. Everything in life is a compromise. You give up one thing to get another, and you can't have it all. Accept it. At 20 years old, we have a lot of dreams. We believe that we have all the time in the world. I myself remember having illusions that my website would be my first career of many. Little did I know, it took the better part of a decade to even become competent at this. And now that I'm competent, have a great edge, and love what I do, why would I ever change it for another career? In one word, focus. You can simply achieve more in life if you focus on one thing and do it really well. Focus more. Another reader. I would tell myself to focus on 1 or 2 goals / aspirations / dreams and really work towards achieving them. Do not be distracted. And again, you have to accept that you can't do everything. To achieve something special in life, you have to sacrifice a lot. Some readers have noted that most people make arbitrary career choices in their teens or early 20s, and like many of our decisions at this age, they are often the wrong ones. It takes years to figure out what we are good at and what we like to do, but it's better to focus on our core strengths and maximize them throughout life than to undervalue something else. I would tell my 30-year-old self to put aside what other people think, identify my natural strengths and what I'm passionate about, and then build a life around it. For some people, this will mean a lot of risk, even at age 30 and older. This may mean giving up the career they've spent 10 years building and giving up the money they've worked hard for and are used to, which brings us to 6. Don't be afraid to take risks. You can still change. Although by age 30, most people think they should focus on their career, it's never too late to reboot. The people I have seen with the most regret during this decade are those who stay in what they know is wrong. It's such an easy decade where days turn into weeks into years, and at 40 you wake up with a midlife crisis due to not taking action on a problem they knew about 10 years ago, but failed to act on. Many readers have commented on how society tells us that by age 30 we should sort things out: our career situation, our dating-marriage situation, our financial situation, and so on. But this is not true. And in fact, dozens and dozens of readers have been implored not to let these social expectations of being an adult keep you from taking serious risks and starting over. As someone on my Facebook page responded, "All adults do it." I'm about to turn 41, and I would tell my 30-year-old self that you don't have to mold your life to an ideal you don't believe in. Live your life. Don't let it live you. Don't be afraid to tear it all down if necessary. You have the strength to build it all over again. Many readers said that at the age of 30, they made serious changes in their careers and became more prosperous as a result. One left a lucrative job as a military engineer to become a teacher. 20 years later, he calls it one of the best decisions of his life. When I asked my mom this question, she replied, "I would like to be able to think outside the box. Your father and I kind of figured that we needed to do thing A, thing B, thing C. But looking back, I realized we didn't need to do it at all. We were very narrow in our thinking and way of life, and I regret that. Less fear, less fear, less fear. I'll be 50 next year and I'm just learning this lesson. Fear was such a detrimental driving force in my life in my 30s. It has had an extremely negative impact on my marriage, my career, my self-esteem. I have been guilty of the following: assuming that others might be talking about me, thinking that I might fail. I wonder what the result might be. If I could do it again, I would take more risks." 7. You must continue to grow and develop. You have 2 assets that you can never get back if you lose them: your body and your mind. Most people stop growing and working on themselves in their 20s. Most people in their 30s are too busy to worry about self-improvement. But if you are one of the few who continues to educate yourself, develop your thinking, and take care of your mental and physical health, you will be light years ahead of the rest for 40 years. It follows that if a person can still change in their 30s and should continue to change in their 30s, then they must continue to work to improve and grow. 5-6. Many readers cited the decision to go back to school and earn a degree at age 30 as one of the most rewarding things they have ever done. Others talked about taking additional seminars and courses to gain strength. Others started their first business or moved to new countries. Others have undergone therapy or started a meditation practice. As Warren Buffett once said, the greatest investment a young man can make is his own education, his own mind. Because money comes and goes. Relationships come and go, but what you learn once will stay with you forever. Goal number 1 should be to try to become a better person, partner, parent, friend, colleague, etc. In other words, grow as a person. 8. No one still knows what they are doing. Get used to it. Unless you are already dead, mentally, emotionally, and socially, you cannot foresee your life 5 years in the future. It won't develop the way you expect, so just stop it. Stop believing that you can plan far ahead. Stop focusing on what's happening right now because it will change anyway, and get over the problem of controlling the direction of your life. Fortunately, since this is true, you can take even more risks and have nothing to lose. You can't lose what you never had. Moreover, most of the feelings of loss remain in your head anyway, and few of them matter in the long term. In my article about what I learned in my 20s, one of my lessons was nobody knows what they're doing, and that was good news. Well, according to people over 40, this continues to be true into their 30s and seemingly forever, and that will always be good news. Most of what you think is important now will seem unimportant in 10, 20 years, and that's okay. This is called growth. Just try not to take yourself too seriously and be open to it. Even though you've been feeling somewhat invincible for the last decade, you really don't know what's going to happen, and neither does anyone else, no matter how confident they say they are. While this is unsettling for those who cling to consistency or security, it is truly liberating when you realize the truth that everything is constantly changing. In conclusion, there may be times that are truly sad. Don't numb the pain or avoid it. Grief is a part of every person's life and a consequence of an open and passionate heart. Respect that. Above all, be kind to yourself and others. This is such a brilliant and beautiful ride, and it just keeps getting better. I'm 44. I would remind my 30-year-old self that at 40, my 30-year-olds will be equally filled with stupid things, different things, but still stupid things. So 30-year-old me, don't attack the high horse. You still don't know everything, and this is good. 9. Invest in your family. It's worth it. Spend more time with your loved ones. When you're an adult, it's a different relationship, and it's up to you to reframe your interactions. They will always see you as their child until you make them see you as their own man. Everyone gets old. Everyone dies. Take advantage of the remaining time to get organized and enjoy your family. I was overwhelmed by the number of responses about family and the strength of those responses. Family for me is a new important topic of this decade because it is understood on both sides. Your parents are already old, and it's time for you to think about how your relationship with them will develop when you become a self-sufficient adult. And then you also need to think about starting your own family. Almost everyone agreed to overcome any problems with their parents and find a way to improve their relationship with them. One reader wrote, "You are too old to blame your parents for any of your shortcomings. At 20, you could get away with it, you just left the house. At 30, you are an adult. Seriously, move on." But there is a question that torments every 30-year-old. To give birth or not to give birth? You don't have time. You have no money. First, you need to improve your career. They will end your life as you know it. Oh, shut up. Children are great. They make you better in every way. They push you to your limits. They make you happy. You shouldn't put off having children. If you're 30, now is the time to think about it. You will never regret it. There's never a right time for kids because you have no idea what you're getting yourself into until you have a child. If you have a good marriage and environment to raise them, do it sooner rather than later, and you'll enjoy them more. All my preconceived notions about what family life was like were wrong. If you're not married yet, everyone is like that, especially when you have children. Try to remain open to experience and flexible. Your marriage is worth it, and your happiness seems to depend as much on your ability to change and adapt as anything else. I didn't plan to have children. From a purely selfish point of view, this was the stupidest thing of all. Children are the most interesting, challenging, and tiring activity that a person can afford. 10. Be kind to yourself. Respect yourself. Be a little selfish and do something for yourself every day. Something new once a month and something impressive every year. This question was rarely the focus of any email, but it was present to some degree in almost all of them. Treat yourself better. Almost everyone has said this in one form or another. There is no one who cares or thinks about your life for even a fraction of what you do, one reader began, and life is hard, so learn to love yourself now. It's harder to learn later, another reader finished. Or as Renee, 40, succinctly puts it, be kind to yourself. Many readers included the old cliche, don't sweat the small stuff, and that's almost all the little things. Eldry, 60, wisely said, "When faced with a perceived problem, ask yourself, will this matter in 5, 10 years? If not, hold on to it for a few minutes and then let go." Many readers seem to focus on the subtle life lesson of simply accepting life as it comes, warts and all. And that brings me to the last quote from Martin, 58. "When I turned 40, my father told me that I would be pleased when I turned 40, because at 20 you think you know what's going on, at 30 you realize you probably don't, and at 40 you can relax and just accept things. I'm 58 and he was right.